So the Sky have offered their qualifying offers, and their fans are not happy at all. They're not happy at all with not even losing, the fact that this team is keeping Dana Evans, who, I'm not gonna lie, sucked last year. And look, I'm not going to judge any player on that Chicago Sky team by how they played last year in the Taurasi Weatherspoon system. I think Taurasi Weatherspoon did a lot of good things as a coach, and I think she did an awful lot of bad things as a coach. Like, I think that she was there were a lot of positives and negatives to Coach Spoon. I think she was very good as far as, like, defending her players in public. I think she did a good job of, rallying around. I think initially at the start of the year, this team was like absolute, like, just one of the tougher teams. They played defense. And I thought maybe through 10 games that this was a team that was like, you know what? They're not far off the playoffs. I think she did a good job initially getting them together. But I think once the double-double streak happened, I think everything from then on became a Taurasi Weatherspoon issue. But the Chicago Sky have retained Dana Evans. And their fans, dear Lord, their fans on Twitter are having all these Twitter spaces and everything, and it's mad. It's absolutely mad. Like, talking about how they want Dana Evans nowhere near the team, and it really is a case of a lot of people kind of just watching this year, and I don't think she's a bad player. I really don't. Like, if you want to look at Dana Evans' stats for her career, this season she was not the greatest. Like, she averaged, if you're looking just for her average, in 19 minutes per game, she averaged 7.2 points per game, which is actually not bad numbers in fairness. She shot 96% from the free throw line, but if you're looking, she shot an effective field goal percentage of 45.8, which isn't great. Good three-point shooter and good pull-up three-point shooter. She was so bad inside the three-point line. Like, how many bad floaters she put up. But, the fans have a massive issue with Dana Evans because she called her own number and was putting up those floaters instead of dumping the ball into Angel Reese. Like, that's the reality of the situation, is that she was calling her own number instead of giving the ball into the bigs. And I'm sorry, like, she was the one player that, in fairness, maybe they had a point because she shot worse from two than Angel Reese did last season, which isn't great at all. But the year before, she was third and sixth player of the year. She was a really, like, key contributor, averaging 9 points per game on a good Chicago Sky team. Like, the Chicago Sky, not even a decent Chicago Sky team. Like, the Chicago Sky team in 2023 with Kat Copper, Dana Evans, Marina Mabrey, Alana Smith, Courtney Williams, Elizabeth Williams. Like, that's a very good starting five. They didn't have that much, but, like, Dana Evans was their sixth player, first player off the bench, and she was big for, like, a 500 team. And a much better Chicago Sky team than this year's Chicago Sky team. But the fans, man, they are losing it. They're losing it on Twitter. There was entire Twitter spaces talking about getting rid of her. And obviously, when it comes to Dana Evans, like, she did request a trade. She requested a trade. Her agent publicly, requested a trade. So she's wanted to go. But I think she could be a genuinely good player for Tyler Marsh. Like, I do think Tyler Marsh is a really good coach for this team because, like, I know a lot of Sky fans are talking about how they're, like, obviously there's that rivalry with the Fever, but those two teams are on two different trajectories. The Fever, in fairness, are like, 5 years into their, or not even 5 years, a freaking decade into their rebuild. Whereas if you're the Chicago Sky, they're starting their rebuild. Like, last year was the first year of their rebuild. And it's going to take a while to get good again. So I like Tyler Marsh. I think Tyler Marsh could help a Dana Evans. And I think Dana Evans can go back to being one of the better spark plug scorers off the bench in the WNBA. I didn't think she was good as a starter to start the year. Albeit the team was much better with her as a starter. Like, the Chicago Sky were at their best when they started Dana Evans, Marina Mabrey, Diamond DeShields, honestly, or what was it? Diamond DeShields playing the three. I think it was Because Carter was coming off the bench. Might have been Diamond Shields, Angel Reese, and Elizabeth Williams. That was the best version of the Chicago Sky. And then in fairness, like, she had to start coming off the bench because the Chicago Sky's starting lineup was so bad at the start of June that, like, they'd be digging themselves 10-point deficits, and then Kennedy Carter would just come on the floor and go on a 10-0 run herself. But I do still think that, like, when Dana Evans went from that to, like, almost getting DNPs by the end of the year, it didn't make sense because she was one of their better shooters. And she's 26 years old. She's young. She'll be 26 into next season. So I can see why they kept her. I really can. I can see why they focused on keeping her. I still don't know what they were doing with Kennedy Carter. But, like, if the Sky are willing to keep Dana Evans, or if Dana Evans is willing to stay in the Sky, if she's willing to play with Tyler Marsh, because I don't think the reason why she didn't want to play with the Sky, obviously she broke down at the press conference towards the end. I don't think it was anything really to do with Chicago Sky. I think the internet stuff kind of got to her, and I think she requested a trade at the exact same time as Breanna Stewart did, because they kind of saw the writing on the wall. And I don't think, like, you can make any excuse that you want. I think Teresa Weatherspoon was a big reason for that. And I think Breanna Stewart just wanted a title, and I think Dana Evans just wanted to play basketball. Like, Teresa Weatherspoon basically sat Dana Evans on the end of the freaking bench. There were a couple of blowout games where she just didn't play. But for the Chicago Sky fans to be going so crazy about this one, I don't agree with it. Look, I'm not trying to argue that Dana Evans is some absolutely unbelievable player. But, like, what I do think is that Dana Evans can be a spark plug off the bench. You're going to get her on the cheap. Like, no one's offering Dana Evans crazy, crazy money in the offseason. So you're going to get her on probably a 1-year sub $100,000 deal. And I think she's going to be a decent contract. I think $100K a year for Dana Evans for a 8-point per game off the bench player, when you can probably get Sloot at the 1. You're probably going to take Sonia Citron with that top pick. So if you end up going out with Sloot, Sonia Citron, Michaela Onyenwere, they are 3 players. That is a 1-2-3 that I think you got 2 what I believe are going to be really good defenders. And I think Onyenwere is much improved as a shooter. Then you got Angel and Camilla. Then you've got the best big in the league off the bench, or the best bench big in the league in Elizabeth Williams. And then you've got Dana Evans as your spark plug. With, like, if Milic comes back, like, it's not a good team, but it's like it's a team that could squeak into that 8 seed. And, like, if you squeak into that 8 seed, you don't feel as bad about losing the number 6 pick in the draft as you do about potentially losing the chance of getting the number 1 pick, whether that be, if you're Chicago Sky's case, probably a Flaujae Johnson, or maybe Tania Latson, to be honest, because she's just a freaking spark plug. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one going into the season to see what happens. But the fact that Chicago Sky fans crashing out about keeping Dana Evans, not even keeping Dana Evans, just signing her to a qualifying offer. Like, I think if a team offers Dana Evans over $100K a year, I don't think Chicago match. But, like, the reality of the situation is that she's still not. She could be on a not terrible contract. And again, like, look, the Fever are paying Katie Lou Samuelson $180K next year. Like, there are 100 times worse contracts than Dana Evans. There are 100 times worse players than Dana Evans. And even though she's coming off a bad season, she's historically been pretty good. And not only that, she had her best season 2023. And I think it's hard to really judge anyone by the Sky's season last year, because after maybe early June, it just became a complete shit show, especially post-Olympic break. Like, that Chicago Sky team post-Olympic break is one of the worst basketball teams I've seen in a long time. Genuinely, they just forgot the 3-point line existed. Like, whatever trades they made, that is one of the worst basketball teams. They were the worst team in the WNBA post-Olympic break. Even, like, regardless of record-wise and because, like, the Sparks and the Wings were trying to lose. The Sky didn't look like they were trying to lose, but they just were so poor. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.